also a huge fan of the TCG.
Oh
and
no!
Of course, there's more loot.
We got a loot card, everybody.
I already redeemed all these, by the way, so I wouldn't really bother.
This is for the Savage Raptor, which was in World Breaker, I believe. It's World Breaker?
Yeah.
While you guys are writing this down, do we have TCG players in the audience? Do you guys play TCG cards? Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know if you've played the raids in the past that Upper Deck did before Cryptozoic took over the TCG, but definitely when Cryptozoic took the TCG over, they spent a lot of time redesigning the raiding experience. If you have not bought any of the new raids, I highly recommend you play them. They are crazy fun. It's hard to build a raid deck, but they've really solved that problem.
So specifically to that, we actually, Iceground Citadel was the last raid we did, and we had made the decision that we wanted to put everything you needed to play in one box. And so it came with actually 3 decks pre-made that you would play, and then also the Raid Leader Boss deck. So it was a 4-player experience straight out of the box, and it's done very well. People really dig it.
Yeah. I used to love the raid because Corey would build my raid decks, and they were always awesome. But without him, it's a little bit more difficult. And if you're going to be at Gen Con, they will be at Gen Con with a huge presence, so make sure to check them out.
And also build raid decks for
flowers with on the ground.
So one of the other things that we've taken on at Cryptozoic is launching the digital manga for Blizzard.
That's awesome.
Tokyo Pop put out some great digital manga. It was very well done. It had never lived in sort of a digital format, and so we had talked about potentially trying to get it out into iOS platforms like iPhone and iPad. It just seemed like such a natural fit for that, for the Blizzard fan. So we actually did launch that a few months ago with a series of the first manga, and I think are launching very shortly another batch of those, and the goal is within the next year to get all of that content up onto the iOS platforms. So if you haven't had a chance, the Cryptozoic Comics Reader is how you would actually access all of this content, and they're great presentation, reasonably priced, and if you haven't had a chance to read any of the mangas for StarCraft or for World of Warcraft, I recommend them highly. They're very, very well done. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Corey.
That's awesome.
This next slide is an announcement we made recently. I don't know if you heard or not, but we just signed a deal with Mega Bloks, and we are crazy excited about it. As we all know, there's several different players in the construction toy market, but when you see some of the slides we're going to show you, I think you're going to understand why this is such an amazing fit for us. It is definitely a love connection. These are Vikings. That are in progress. I want to emphasize this was Mega Bloks' first take at this product. Blizzard didn't touch this. They simply did this on their own and sent this to us, and we were so geeked out we couldn't stand it. We are going to be doing a total line reveal at BlizzCon in 2011, and also you are going to be able to buy your first ever piece of Mega Bloks. Right now it's around 2,000 pieces. It's going to be an incredible value. It'll be the only SKU you'll be able to get until next year, and it will be available exclusively at BlizzCon.
Is that for the virtual people too?
Yes, you'll have access to the online store, which will be carrying SKUs of the Mega Bloks product. Yes.
That's interesting.
All right, next up is DC. We have Hank Canals here at the end. You want to wave, Hank? Take it away.
Hey there, thank you. So we wrapped up our monthly book, and we've moved into doing exclusive graphic novels for the World of Warcraft property. I'm actually hoping this slide will come up. And we've got a couple in the works here. The first one up is our Alliance original graphic novel. It's written by Mike Costa and illustrated by Neil Googe. Mike's best known for his work on Transformers and G.I. Joe. Terrific writer, but also extremely into the Warcraft mythos here. It's been very interesting because we would call for scripting like, I'm doing research, and we know what research means when you're talking about Warcraft. But he's worked very closely with Mickey and the lore team to really pull together a lot of information in this expansive epic graphic novel that it really focuses on the Alliance and the history of the Warden. So, Mickey, you want to talk a little bit about how this has been so far?
Yeah, so how many people actually played the Side Balloon questline, Classic WoW? Yep.
Side
Okay. So this features the side of the balloon. It features Worgen. Some of you who played that quest line may remember the Dark Riders. You never actually got to see the Dark Riders in the game. So this is a really cool opportunity to see them, to get into their history, where they came from, and also featuring characters that aren't marquee characters. It's not King Varian, it's not, the characters that aren't similar to the characters that you play every day. These are more like the characters that you actually play in the game.
It's been terrific too, because working with these guys very directly, we were able to weave a lot of these storylines together. So a lot of the stuff that you see in game, or a couple bits and pieces in Christie's novels and the other novels, all relate to each other. So I think you'll be very pleased with how this is tied into everything else there. Art by the fantastic Neil Googe. He's terrific. He's been in Thailand for several months now, but he's moved back to the UK, and we're in the home stretch finishing this OGN. It should be out in the fourth quarter of this year. Next up is the Horde OGN. This one is fantastic as well, obviously. Working with Jeremy Rapak on art and Doug Wagner on the script. Doug's a relative newcomer. He's probably most recently known for the work he did on Red, which became a major motion picture. He did some of the adaptation work for that in comics. But Jeremy Rapak, known for X-Men versus Hulk, so who better to draw a Horde than an artist of his caliber. Again, terrific work, hardcore player. He's going really deep on detail on the armor sets. Doug going very deep on story detail, with Garage putting together an elite team of Horde warriors. And I'll throw this back over to Nikki as well, because he's been working closely with Doug and James Wong.
Yeah, so for this one too, we wanted to serve as kind of a microcosm of the Horde itself. So there's a militia team, and there's a member of each race on this team, and they're kind of forced into this situation where they have to confront this new threat, which is tied into the Centaur, and a new power behind the Centaur. So it's really a representation of the Horde itself, and how the Horde is comprised of races who have to come together, and they're kind of forced to work together.
So Jeremy's doing the pencils on this. We have Rich Friend, Eisner winner, world-renowned inker there, and we're pleased to announce also at this show that Dave McKay has signed on for the color work on this. It's going to be a phenomenal original graphic novel. Again, also planned to be ready for fourth quarter this year. Okay,
Oh, wow.
Sword of Justice, Diablo. This is an original 5-issue miniseries. And this one's written by Aaron Williams, who's best known for his work on North 40 and PS 238. And the art and the covers are Joseph LaCroix. He's a great new find that the folks at Blizzard actually stumbled across and have been working with. This is his first American comics work, and it's just fantastic. Really nice fine line there. This one's the story about Jacob, and basically he's led by visions of an ancient prophecy that leads him to the Diablo world and the Archangel.
Yeah, so this features Tyrael's sword. For those of you who know the Diablo lore, at the end of D2X, Tyrael destroyed the World Stone. Tyrael disappeared after that. So this is a story about his sword basically calling to a human to serve as the avatar of justice on Sanctuary. So it's got all the ingredients of a great Diablo story. It's got Tyrael's sword, it's got a hero, a mortal hero, it's got barbarians, it's got demonic corruption, and it's got a sexy wizard. Everything you could want.
He really brings a European flair to the work. He's a French artist, and if you see these pages up on the screen there, a terrific look and approach. And we're also pleased to announce that Dave Stewart will be coloring this story as well. And then next up we have a StarCraft original graphic novel. This is a 120-page hardcover that will be coming out in 2012. This one's written by Simon Furman, who's probably best known for his Transformers work.
That's awesome.
past and present. And he also wrote the StarCraft comic book that we used to do on a monthly basis. This one's the epic battle between Nova and Sarah Kerrigan. So we were talking about the novel earlier there. And then also Sarah, who's the Zerg and human hybrid. I guess she's known as the Queen of Blades. And this one's in production right now. Fantastic cover, too.
How are they supposed to be fighting when they're back to back? Yeah. All right, we want to open it up for Q&A. Can I get John Bias?
There you go, Trevor.
All right, he's right there. So we're going to ask a favor of you. If you're standing in line, if you don't mind kneeling down a little, just so the people behind
You want me to just keep recording it all?
Yes, recording it all. We do actually have blue cards for people who ask questions.
Yeah.
Not that you need motivation, but we'll give you some. We do ask again that you please keep your questions limited to the products that we are talking about today and the people that are on our panel, and I'll answer the question in advance. We're not going to tell you when Diablo 3 is launching, and there isn't really any new movie story, so as soon as John's ready.
Hello. First of all, Chris, I have to say, geeks rule, man. Second of all, my question is for the trading card game. The art, guys, is absolutely beautiful, and some of these cards, frameable, in fact. Just wondering what is your screening process for the thousands of artists that are doing these cards?
So currently, Blizzard actually manages the acquisition of that art, and there is an enormous pool of talent for the fantasy art world, especially when it centers around popular trading card games like World of Warcraft, trading card game, or Magic the Gathering. So we pull from sort of the cream of the crop in terms of who does the art for this trading card game. But that said, we're always on the lookout for new talent. You'll see every set includes new artists. And typically, we have at Cryptozoic's website, there's actually a link to an artist submission email address, and I believe Blizzard has one as well. But you're probably better off sending it to Cryptozoic because we're so focused on the TCG. But we get tons of people all the time submitting portfolios, and we get those over to Blizzard, and we all work together to make sure we get the best art possible.
Hey, I was wondering if you were going to plan on making some books for kids?
Oh, that's a good question, Chris. Nikki?
We have certainly talked about it. I'm personally a big fan of it. I think a lot of kids play WoW. I have a daughter who's 8 years old, and when I go into Barnes & Noble and I go into the book section for the stuff that she reads, it kind of breaks my heart that there aren't any WoW books there for her to read. So it is definitely something that we are talking about.
If there are parents in the room, could I get a show of hands if you would buy WoW books for your kids? You see that licensing department? All right.
Warcraft pop-up.
Warcraft pop-up book. That's a good idea. I like that. All right. Who's next?
With Cataclysm out, what kind of new cards are there?
Like TCG cards?
So a lot of the focus for the Cataclysm block was on the goblins, for instance, and the worgen. So you'll see in there new keywords like aberration for the worgen, where they can't be damaged by anything but combat. And with the goblins, they come into play because time is money. They can exhaust right away and use their abilities. So there was tons of fun stuff we built thematically into the trading card game mechanically that tied back into those two new playable races. And then also the big one was we just put Deathwing in, so you can actually play as Deathwing in the trading card game, which is one of those sort of fun experiences you're only going to find in sort of these abstract properties based on WoW. So we did tons of stuff. I definitely recommend the last 3 sets, getting out there and playing it. It brought in a lot of the dragon stuff too, so all the Twilight of the Dragon stuff is hitting right now. And so you have all the different dragon flights bringing sort of a ton of flavor to deck building.
If you are currently in line to ask a question, could you please kneel down so people can see over you? Thank you. My question is for the Mega Blocks. Are you guys going to go also towards the regular World of Warcraft?
Yes, so Mega Bloks is going to be for both StarCraft and World of Warcraft. So at BlizzCon this year, you're going to see a preview of both of those lines. We've seen it internally, and it is amazing. Like, we saw a full spread, both Horde and Alliance, fully constructible pieces. You're definitely going to be happy.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you guys for being here. My question's for Christy Golden. I've heard your books are excellent, and I haven't read any of the WoW books yet, so I want to know what you would recommend as my first book to start reading them.
Wow, that's a hard one. The first one that I wrote was Lord of the Clans, and that continues to be many readers' favorite, a sentimental favorite. Do you play Horde or Alliance?
Horde, of course.
Well then. It's always hard for me to recommend. I guess if you are looking for kind of plot-heavy action adventure, I would recommend The Shattering. If you are looking for in-depth character, I would suggest either Rise of the Horde is also a very good background about how the Horde came to be and the backstory of the orcs. And the new one is really diving very, very deep into Thrall and also the personalities of the aspects. So that could be a good one to sit down with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would highly recommend the new Thrall novel. It's a look into Thrall like you've never seen him before.
The art on the graphic novels from DC Comics looks awesome, and we're just wondering if you plan to release those digitally at all?
We do actually, and the plan currently will be have the same day digital, so the same day they're available in bookstores, they'll be available online. You can get that at read.dccomics.com. Thank you for asking.
Hi guys, my question is related to the Mega Blocks. Like earlier, the earlier question, of course the answer was you were going to be relating the blocks to World of Warcraft as well as StarCraft. My question is regarding like character selection, because I mean personally I'd like to see Deathwing, Gerp and Henry, or even maybe Kerrigan, for example. And what's the process of selection into the characters that you're going to choose?
Sure, so I'm not going to let any information out because there's a guy sitting in that booth that'll yell at me, but I will promise you that we definitely have seen some dragons that are super cool. That's all I'll say about that. In terms of character selection, it really is a teamwork between Nick Carpenter, between our creative development team, and through the World of Warcraft development team, and Mega Bloks. So, you know, everyone gets together and says, you know, these are the points we want to hit. This is what we think are going to be most fun for the audience. And this is, you know, the order in which we're going to release them. So you're going to see a lot of your main faction leaders. You are going to see some of the characters that you talked about. It's going to be exciting. But more at BlizzCon.
All right, awesome. Thanks.
Hi guys, I got a bit of a lore question for, I guess,
Thank you.
Chris and Christine. Is there any